Land Day goes all the way back to 76. And we are proud that we here in Vancouver held a support rally in the original Land Day that happened in 1976 at the courthouse. It used to be called the courthouse. And we held that rally 4 days after they murdered 6 Palestinians just for asking and, demanding that their land should not be confiscated from them. And these were all Palestinians with Israeli citizenship. They weren't under occupation like the people of Gaza now. So it's clear the brutality has no limits for the Israeli establishment or for the settler colonialist ideology that believes that they are more superior than the Palestinian people and the Arab people in general. In the Nakba in 1948, Canada supported this project even before 48. They supported this project at the United Nations in 1947 with the partition plan. In 48, what happened was they ethnically cleansed the whole nation and uprooted it from their homeland. 2/3 of the Palestinian people became refugees. Over 400 towns and villages were destroyed and depopulated. That means they kicked out the people of Palestine out of their homeland. And when CBC reports that these people in 1948 who became refugees, when they reported, the first report was that the Palestinians were forced out. The Zionists objected to that. So what's the reaction of CBC was to amend their language and to correct their language to fit with the Zionist agenda and the Zionist narrative. So they said they were fleeing. They weren't forced out. And exactly that's what they said in later reports. Can you see a sovereign, independent media outlet takes their order from a foreign government? Can you believe that the editor of CBC is the Anas Reporting, the Zionist group that called themselves Anas Reporting? We call them dishonest reporting. The recent massacre is nothing new in among the Palestinian people. We faced it in 48, from Deir Yassin to Qibya to Lud, and you name it. There is a list of at least 17, 18 massacres that happened in 48. And as I said, over 400 towns and villages were destroyed and depopulated. And it's documented. I mean, it's not really, I'm not speaking from not knowing what I'm talking about. It is, if people want documentation, they could find it all over the internet. The best book to look at is All That Remains by Palestinian historian Walid al-Khalidi. He documents every town and villages that were destroyed and depopulated. He had over 400 towns and villages that were destroyed and depopulated. And when the Palestinian people ask to return, Israel says no. When they demonstrate peacefully in Gaza to ask for their right to return, they shot 18 of them in cold blood, and 1,600 were injured, mostly by gunfire, not by tear gas, by gunfire, not by rubber bullets, but by gunfire. And the CBC reports that the rioting was and the Molotov throwing was started by the Palestinians. That's nonsense. It's against the facts, it's against the history, it's against morality, it's against humanity. When you say in spite, you add insult to injury. You victimize the victim once more by lying, by not telling the truth to the Canadian public. In 1949, Israel was accepted to the United Nations, and the resolution was co-sponsored by Canada. The resolution stated that Israel, to be accepted to the United Nations, has to implement two resolutions. Israel agreed to implement these two resolutions. You know what are the resolutions were? One of them was implementing the Partition Plan 181, which was Israel took over 25% of what was allotted to them in 1948. This haven't been implemented. The second one was the right of return. 194, United Nations General Assembly 194, this resolution was never implemented. For the past 7 years, people are pleading that they want to return to their homes. No one is listening. Not the US, not the Western country, and not even the Arab countries. I just like to talk a little bit about the Arab country because the responsibility lies on the shoulder of the Arab regimes. They are the ones who are collaborating with Israel. They are the ones who are collaborating with the US. You know, in today's demonstration in Gaza, they burned the pictures of not Netanyahu, not the President of the United States, Mr. Trump. They burned the picture of bin Salman, Mohammed bin Salman. They burned the pictures of his father, who are complicit in Israeli war crime. The last year, $500 billion Saudi Arabian, $500 billion of Saudi Arabian oil dollars went to the US just in 1 year. $500 billion. You imagine what these could do for the liberation of Palestine. They are complicit, but I assure you, they're gonna face the fate of King Abdullah I in 1951, and Nouri Said in 1958, and Sadat and Mubarak and Ben Ali of Tunisia. I'm sure the Arab people will call them to task, and they'll face justice and they'll face their destiny. Thank you all for coming here.